There I was standing in my soggy basement, water lapping at my boots, and Victoria Langford, the queen bee of that fancy HOA down the hill, comes storming in, her expensive pumps ruined, yelling, "You planned this, didn't you, Ryan? This flood's on you." And damn if she wasn't spot on. I'd followed her ridiculous order to the letter, draining my natural spring setup after she slapped me with a $1,500 fine for hoarding groundwater, and watched as the rush took out their swanky $3 million community center like it was nothing but driftwood in a river. But hey, let's rewind, because this mess didn't start with the Ryan. It kicked off 6 months back when I made the dumbest smart move of my life, snagging that 10-acre chunk of hillside in Virginia, just outside Richmond, thinking it'd be my quiet escape from the world. See, I'm Ryan Caldwell, used to be a lead water expert with the EPA, digging into pollution scandals for over a decade until I called out some big shot company for dumping chemicals in the Chesapeake Bay. Thought I was the hero, right? Nah, got me sidelined, threatened, and shoved into early retirement at 40 with a payout barely enough to vanish. So I hunted for solitude, found this overgrown plot listed cheap as dirt, literally. All rocks and steep drops. Rustic charm, the ad called it, but I smelled a bargain. The agent, this fidgety guy named Alex Rivera, kept glancing at his phone like he was late for his own funeral, pushing the deal. Owner's ancient, just wants it gone, no haggling, cash preferred. Felt off, but after bouncing between sketchy rentals where my EPA rep made folks twitchy, I dropped $75,000 on a rainy April day and claimed what locals whispered was Hawthorne Ridge, named after the old coot who'd sat on it for decades without touching a shovel. First few weeks were bliss, hacking away at brush for a simple cabin spot, until my digger crew hits pay to water, really. The foreman, grizzled old Pete Harlan, kills the engine and waves me over. "You aware of this water deal up here? It's bubbling straight from the stone, not some puddle thousands of gallons a day, I'd bet." I scoop a handful, cold as ice, pure as anything. My old training lights Upland Stone filter, steady aquifer feed, zero contaminants after tests. Jackpot, I think, redesigning everything around it. A low-key pond to catch the flow, overflow channeling downhill naturally, all permitted and greenlit by the county. For months, it was paradise. Solar power would heat, endless fresh water for my coffee and showers, the forest muffling the world below, where those McMansion folks in Willow Creek Estates lounged by their pools, a half-mile down, separated by thick woods that kept their drama at bay. Or so I figured. Then one sticky May morning, this sleek black SUV crawls up my gravel path, and out steps Victoria polished suit, clipboard in hand, smile like a shark spotting lunch. "Mr. Caldwell," she says, heels clicking like she's owning the place. "I'm Victoria Langford, president of Willow Creek HOA. We've got watershed worries affecting our neighborhood. Mind if we chat?" Her eyes lasering on my pond, not casual at all, like she's appraising a steal. I cross my arms. "Not in your HOA. Mammy Land's independent." She doesn't blink, just hands over this glossy packet. "Water doesn't care about fences, Ryan. We're protecting investments downstream. We'd appreciate your cooperation on an impact study, voluntary, of course, unless we loop in the authorities." The threat hung there, smooth as silk, but I'd seen her type in DC Power plays wrapped in ecobabble. What burned was her knowing details about my setup, like she'd been spying, in that packet. Full of jargon, half wrong, screaming amateur hour with a side of agenda. That night, nursing a beer on my porch, staring at the estate's lights twinkling below, I dug an old EPA Habits Die Hard. Victoria's resume? Ex-real estate mogul, HOA boss for a year, and silent partner in Brookside Ventures, snapping up land cheap around the area. Patterns emerged. Folks hit with nitpicky fines, pressure mounting until they sold low to her firm classic squeeze play. using HOA clout to grease her private deals. Turns out, my ridge fed their whole basin, control my spring, and she'd corner a gold mine for some upscale project promising pure mountain elixir to rich buyers. Jealousy? Nah, pure greed. Her empire hinged on land grabs, and my spot blocked her vision of a $40 million enclave. It stung, realizing I'd wandered into a turf war, but anger sharpened my edge. I'd whistle-blown before, knew how to flip the script on bullies hiding behind rules. So I lawyered up with Elena Vargas, sharp as a tack from her EPA enforcement days. This is straight-up coercion. Rianch's got no jurisdiction, but she's betting you'll fold. We fired back a dossier tests. Deed from 1902 granting eternal spring rights. Federal protections kicking in if anyone meddled. Copied every agency, turning her game into a spotlight. Boom. 48 hours later, a certified slap. $1,500 fine for unsafe water hoarding, demanding I dismantle or pay up, signed with fake county flair. Audacious, right? Elena laughed. She's just handed U.S. fraud on a platter. But we played patient, letting her ramp up fake inspectors, drone buzzes, whispers in local forums, painting me as some eco-villain. Inside, it ate at me, this invasion of my peace, but I mapped her web. Brookside buying in a ring around my water, fast-track permits from cozy officials, SEC docs hyping a Crystal Springs haven worth millions, all riding on my flow. Stakes high. Desperation showed she needed me out before investors sniffed trouble. Then the golden ticket, another letter, forged as county emergency order from a ghost official. Barking, drain it all, now flood, risk, imminent to wheel bulldoze at your cost. I called the real director, Dr. Maria Kenton. Total fake. Ryan, this is criminal. Heart racing, I saw the play comply with her bogus command, and liability flips. With a storm brewing forecast screaming 6 inches of rainy, crunched numbers. Without my barriers, it had surged 700 gallons a minute, swamping their pretty drains built for show, not flow. Documented everything, cameras rolling, as Victoria rolls up with a deputy and pumps, barking, comply or we'll handle it. I hand the cop my proof. These docs are phony. Check with Kenton. Her facade cracks. This is for community safety. But I smile. Fine, Victoria, I'll drain it right now, per your order. Her face, priceless, paling as she stammers. Wait, maybe delay. Too late. Barriers down. Inspector witnessing. Deputy radioing backups as her house of cards teeters. Storm hit like vengeance winds howling. Rain sheeting down and from my hill. I watched the torrent race free, natural as gravity. By dawn, Willow Creek was a lake. Their center submerged, foundations buckling, homes flooded, roads out $3.5 million in wreckage. All because she demanded the fix. Victoria at the command post, ranting, he's a saboteur. But Doc showed her order caused it. Feds swooped FBI, EPA raiding her empire, exposing the con. Arrested in her driveway, cuffed and camera flashed, pleading guilty to fraud, conspiracy 15 months inside, millions in payback, her project belly up, investors suing. Community rebounded, new board partnering with me on real eco plans, my spring flowing protected, me consulting again on water fights. Funny how justice rolls like water, unstoppable, finding every crack. But was I the hero, or just lucky, or maybe too vengeful? Drop your take below. Ever battle an HOA tyrant? Who's right in these land grabs property owners or community stewards? Like, subscribe, share your stories, let's flood the comments with real talk.